Welcome back. Cyclops docked in Mylor, which is up the River Fal. Just was boarded by the border force for the second time. Very friendly guys. This boat is called a Cornish crabber, which you can see quite clearly. And she's out on the hard right now because she started to leak. There's pretty much no keel at all. So it is from Cornwall. Well, if you look out on that anchorage, there has to be at least 20 of these boats out there. Despite being docked for a few days, we found a chance still to go to sea. We rented this small, sturdy boat from near the marina. The motor was woefully underpowered for the tide and quite noisy. To navigate during the trip, we consulted the boat's chart plotter, which was a lot more chart than plotter. We were motoring towards the upper reaches of the river and had to navigate many a channel mark. I'm always taking videos of chain ferries and extreme tide. People that sail in this area probably think that's really boring and commonplace. This collection of basically two wrecks is anchored far upriver. Love to know the history. I can only imagine how much fun it would be to explore this river for an entire summer. The English sure do like their oddball boats. Gail, maybe an update on our trip so far?
Looks like we're almost there. Maybe another 20 minutes?
We've been fighting a bit of current, right? Our goal for today is having lunch at an inn at the top of the navigable waters. We have officially made it to the Malpass slipway. Gail is already climbing the hill for lunch. Gail inquiring where the boat is. We have not lost it. Wow, if you look even farther upriver, almost all mud. After a satisfying but healthy pub lunch, we headed back to the marina. However, we had to fight the tide once again. There was some a cappella singing at the top of the marina to celebrate a wedding. And here's where the scandal began. The groom was a member of the local rescue services and had convinced his friends to do a flyby at his reception. What do British taxpayers think of that? Gail, tell us where we're headed now on this ferry.
St Mawes.
Okay. And why are we going to St Mawes?
To walk.
I often get anxious for my next passage, and so to mitigate this problem, Gail creates many interesting walks. This is the famous Pendennis shipyard, which built a 40-meter catamaran which caught my eye. Cardinal mark with two triangles down means stay south of me. If you can't see the triangles, you can also tell yellow on top of black indicates a southerly cardinal. But I bet you knew that already. We surely have enjoyed the crossing the Fal River on our ferry and look forward now to our walk. Welcome to St Mawes, which is located across from Falmouth, across the Fal River.
We're in St Mawes.
And what are we going to go on this 2-hour hike?
We do a little circular road hike and then get some lunch.
Oh man. Join us for the hike or for the lunch. This 16th century artillery fort is the highlight of St. Mawes tourism, but my eye gets distracted and goes out to sea. Yep, I can't help but look at the boats that are out having fun today. The boats on the horizon are in front of the marina we're staying at currently. These two sailors are about to head out in their International 14, a high-performance skiff that once was the cutting edge of sailing.
The channel is all the way over towards that side, and I was worried that you were going to go into that anchor.
Our nice marina was located in Mylor, which is very rural, so we searched out for the big lights of Falmouth. We feasted on excellent South African food. We didn't add to our stores to avoid lugging back to the boat. I have a small addiction to maritime museums and have probably visited 50 of them across the globe. This is the boat that sailed solo across the Atlantic in 105 days. What's remarkable about it is that the boat is so tiny you can't actually stretch out. So for 105 days, this guy was basically in a ball. When he arrived at the end of his voyage, he could barely walk. There is 0.0 chance that that activity would interest me. Well, maybe a bit. This is the fin dinghy, but more specifically, it's the fin dinghy of Sir Ben Ainslie, and won a record amount of gold medals for GBR. He won many of his medals in a boat I used to sail, the Laser, and now he is skippering the Ineos campaign to win the America's Cup. This is the second time we've seen a Giganda at a museum. Once in France, and now here. And here's the Giganda in life. And why am I so excited about seeing a Giganda? Because we saw them in their native Brazil. And that's the only place I've ever seen them actually floating. Museum in France, museum in the UK, but in action, still being used in Brazil. Boats that are still in action that I've seen in usage. This is a verdella, which is used in Malta. And when I was in Malta, the marina that I stayed at to get to downtown, I paid a couple euros and crossed the bay to reach downtown in a verdella. In the 1920s, people would gather on the Thames, and this is what Gale wish yachting was, as opposed to going out in big seas in the ocean. Gale's dream boat, relaxing on the Thames. With the time machine, this is what Falmouth Harbor would have looked like. Now our time machine has brought us back to present-day Falmouth Harbor. First, we tried to get a spot at this marina in downtown Falmouth, but we found a great spot in Mylor. This marina's proximity to the museum is a plus. From the Marine Museum's windows, we were watching this mega yacht dock with the use of their dinghy as a bow thruster. Time to return to our tour of the museum. So this round boat is known as a coracle, which you might think, just a round boat that maybe the Irish or the Norsemen used to cross bodies of water. But the first coracle I'm aware of comes from the time of the Babylonians. And what's interesting is the Noah's Ark story is in the Babylonian text, except instead of being in a long boat that we're used to, it's in a coracle, an absolutely massive coracle. Here's a dramatic scene we saw right in the middle of the marina. It's an adult swan with her cygnet. Cygnet is a swan baby. Yeah, I had to Google that. Here's the whole family paddling. No free ride for the cygnet. As part of Classics Week, a variety of steam-powered vessels were in town. The owners were very friendly and gave me many lessons in the subtleties of steam. At the end of the day of steaming, it makes this horrible noise, but the owners buttoned it up and left it. There's a reason steam engines were replaced. Years ago, when I first visited Mont Saint-Michel in France, I was blown away and it left a large impression. So I was very excited to find that the English had their own St. Michael's Mount. Both sites can only be accessed at certain tides. Initially, it was the brother order to Mont Saint-Michel, but politics severed that link. The property played a role in many English conflicts, including the Civil War, but since 1659, it's been owned by the same family. The building was replete with the usual old building stuff, rugs, paintings, and a few cannons. Gail enjoyed our visit to Mount St. Michael, but it was time for us to continue our walk and head out. As the afternoon turned blustery, we still had to walk to Penzance. Yes, the Penzance from Gilbert and Sullivan. However, they do a very poor job of monetizing their history. There's no museum, no gift shop with a t-shirt saying Gilbert and Sullivan were here. However, beautiful seaside pool. Welcome to Penzance Harbor. It's really a harbor more for the fishing fleet. And so the way they accommodate the sailboats is by rafting up next to the wall, which is not as deluxe as what we're used to. It also has a tidal gate. So the tide is still quite low, so the gate is down. I have no idea what this is. Is it a buoy? Is it related to fishing? The ship, which has this unknown item, has a flag telling us it's survey. So it must have something to do maybe with depth sounding.